Hello, this is nfikes, the UTA for ME 3024, Engineering Design and Economics. I have all the components here for the motor speed indicator. I'll go through each of the components. So there are 3 LEDs. We'll have 3 150 ohm resistors. We'll have 1 H-bridge chip. Right here is 5 long wires. We'll have 6 shorter wires. And then we'll have 2 sets of 2, so 4 total short wires. I coupled them together. I'll show you later why. I have a barrel plug connector that connects to a 9-volt battery, and then I have a DC motor. Alright, so the first step is to take this H-bridge chip, and you'll see that on the H-bridge chip there's a notch at the top. This tells you where the first pin is. So the first pin is going to be right next to the notch right there. So what you'll do is you'll place the H-bridge chip in the middle so that it bridges the gap between these, and each pin is on its individual line right here. You'll just place it in and you'll push it until it clicks in. Then the next thing you'll want to do is connect all the power and grounds. So you'll take one of your long wires and you'll put it into a ground port over here. Take one of the long ones and put it into the blue rail here. Next, you'll take a slightly shorter wire here, and then you'll place it into the 5-volt line here. And you'll place this wire into a 5-volt rail here. And then lastly, you can take a black wire from a shorter pile, and then you can place it into the ground of the Arduino. And then you'll place it into a ground rail here. So now you have 2 grounds connected to the Arduino and then a power. Next, you'll take the 2 coupled wires. They're shorter. This one I wrapped together. These 2 are still stuck together. What you'll do is you'll place them in the middle part of the H-bridge. This is going to be pins 13 and 12. So 13 and 12 over here. And then you'll place the other part into 4 and 5. Positions of these are 3 pins from the edges, so it's the 2 middle pins. And then for each of these, you'll place them into the ground port. So now you'll have 2 wires per each side, and it will connect the H-bridge to the ground ports. Next thing, you'll just connect the motor. So you'll take your DC motor. This one I just put a piece of tape onto it. You can kind of see that there. It's stuck to the end so that when it rotates you'll see it. You'll take any of the 2 wires and you'll just put them into pins 3 and 6 of the H-bridge. So on the H-bridge you'll see that there's a pin right next to the pins you just put the ground. So you'll just put any of the wires into there. So what I suggest is just maybe put the red wire there. Might take a big push in. And then you place the blue wire on the opposite side, and it's going to be pin 3, so the 3rd pin from the edge. And what you can do is just place the motor underneath this wire, push it down, and then crimp the wires a little bit so that they stay. If you crimp them, then the motor should stay in that position. So now you have 2 grounds, you have your motor connected to the H-bridge now. The next step is to give power to the H bridge through two different ways. The first way is to connect this pin here. You're going to go on the power line that your 5V is running on. Place one of the jumpers into there, and then you'll place the end of this jumper into pin 8. And pin 8 is your 5V power rail that goes into the motor. So this is motor power. And then on the other side, you'll just take another jumper, place it into the 5V rail, and then place it into pin 16, which is this end pin right here. And that pin is the voltage for internal logic. So you'll just place that on the edge right there. So now you have VCC1 and VCC2 both connected to power. Make sure that this is the power rail using this red line. The next step is to connect the actuation. So we're going to drive the actuation through the Arduino. We're going to use pin 13 and 12 on the Uno to do the actuation. So just take one of your short wires here and place it into pin 13, and then place your other short wire, place it into 12, and next you'll place pin 12 into pin 7 of the bridge. So you'll take your wire here, and pin 7 is, if you remember the H bridge, the pins go in a C. It starts from the upper part on the left of the notch. You'll count down 7. It should be in between the motor and the power you just connected. So 2 from the bottom, there. And then this other pin is going to be on pin 2. So you'll just count 2 from the top, and then you'll place it into there. Might be really hard to see right now, but if you can see that, it is 2 from the top. The next step is to connect the PWM signal to the enable pin. So you're going to take one of your short wires and you're going to place it into the PWM output. In the program, it's going to be pin 11. So you'll just take this jumper and connect it to 11. And you'll take the end, you'll place it into pin 1 of the H bridge. Again, it might be hard to see. And you'll see that that jumper is now in pin 1. Next, you'll want to set up your lights. So take one of your resistors. You can bend it into this little shape here, so it's easier to place into the breadboard. And do this for 3 resistors, so I have 2 more here. And on this side of the breadboard, you'll want to connect one of the legs of the resistor into ground. So you can place it into the bottom slot here. Then take another resistor. You can place it into the slot next to that. And then take your last resistor and then another slot above that. Each of these resistors will be on its own node on this side. So then you'll take your LEDs, make sure that the longer side you can bend in a little bit, and that longer side will be on this side of the breadboard. So let's first start out with green. Take the green LED, place one of the legs into the right side of the breadboard and the other leg into the left. It has to line up with the resistor. So now that the resistor is connected to the back of this LED, and then do it for the other ones. So the yellow one will go on the second resistor, and then the red one on the third one. So now you have your 3 LEDs. And lastly, you'll want to connect the LEDs to the Uno. So what you'll do is make a little bit of space. What we'll need to do is connect the red LED to pin 7, the yellow LED to pin 4, and the green LED to pin 2. So let's start with the green. Take one of your long wires, connect it to the front of the green LED, and then take the other side, and the green LED is going to be pin 2. Let's go over to your Arduino Uno, find pin 2, and there you go. So it's in pin 2 now. The next LED we're going to connect is pin for the yellow LED, and the yellow LED goes into pin 4. Just connect to the front of the yellow LED there. Find 4 on your Uno. Should be this one. There you go. And then the last one, take the red. Connect to the front of the red LED. And then the red LED will connect to pin 7. There we go. So all the LEDs are now connected. Make sure that red is connected to 7, yellow is connected to 4, and green is connected to 3. Or actually green is 2, never mind. Now that everything is finished, this board has been pre-flashed, so it means it has its program on it already. So you'll take your battery, you'll take the header here, you'll just connect it with the battery right there. And you'll take the barrel plug and you'll place it into this barrel place here. And then before we actually plug it in, let's make sure and check that everything is connected on the circuit. So first of all, we have power going into a rail here. 2 grounds. One ground is acting for the LEDs on this side, allowing the H-bridge to drain on that side. Another ground to catch the H-bridge on this side. Make sure these 2 are actually in ground. This one's actually in 5 volts. Once those are confirmed, move on to the next ones. These 2 sets of wires should be connected to ground so that the H-bridge can sync power. The 2 power lines for the H-bridge, one for the motor, one for the internal logic. Make sure those are connected to power. Your actuation pins, which is the yellow one and the green one. Make sure these 2 are connected to the respective pins. And then the enable pin coming from the PWM is this blue wire here. Make sure that one's connected to pin 1. And once everything is confirmed, make sure your LEDs are connected as well. You can plug into your remote control here. And you'll see that it's already been flashed, so the program runs automatically. And you'll see the lights change as the motor spins. Once you're done, you can unplug here. Additionally, you can power your Arduino Uno through the USB serial port, and you can take out serial information from here. But you can also have your normal power into the barrel plug while you're connected. Just make sure that the power the board is getting is either from the battery or the computer. All right, thank you.